Welcome to the Motherhood Alliance podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering moms and families on their health and wellness journey. I'm Brittany Suttner.
And I'm Andrea Rankus. Together, we're here to explore holistic approaches that go beyond conventional medicine.
Each week, we dive into topics that matter most to you, everything from nutrition and mental health to alternative therapies and natural living.
We'll bring you the expert interviews, insightful discussions, and practical tips to make motherhood a little easier and help your family thrive.
Please keep in mind that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to replace the advice, diagnosis, or treatment plans you have with your personal healthcare team. Please have a conversation with your trusted healthcare provider prior to making any changes or implementing any strategies or advice you learn from this podcast.
Whether you're a new mom navigating the early stages of parenthood or a seasoned pro looking for new ways to support your family's well-being, you're in the right place.
Here at the Motherhood Alliance podcast, we challenge the status quo, ask the tough questions, and offer a supportive community for moms who want to make an informed, holistic choice.
Thank you for joining us on this journey.
Let's get started. Hi, we are Britt and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and we are excited to welcome you to a 3-episode series with Dr. Kate Williams, the owner of Well Within Chiropractic, right here in Appleton, Wisconsin. She is a family wellness chiropractor who has extensive training through the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association. She is Webster certified, she's a certified digestive health professional, and she offers cranial sacral therapy and nutritional counseling in her office. While she works with people of all ages, she has a special heart for kids, babies, and pregnant and postpartum mamas. When she's not caring for families, you'll usually find her reading, hiking, kayaking, or hanging outside with her 2 kids and husband. We are so excited for you to hear from her today. She brings such a grounded, refreshing perspective to health and healing, and these episodes are amazing. Let's dive in.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Motherhood Alliance podcast. We are back here with Dr. Kate from Well Within Chiropractic. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're going to be talking about kind of some really healthy and helpful morning and bedtime rituals for not just moms, but for kids too. We want to reduce our stress. We want to just, set ourselves up for success. And I know for us, me and Britt especially me, sometimes the mornings can be kind of crazy and hectic. So I feel like between me and Britt, we have all sorts of things that we could probably help with. Let's just start with the morning routine, especially during, the school year, getting out the door. That can be really challenging. So what do you do with your kids, especially as a working mom? Everybody needs to leave.
Yeah.
Let's start off with kind of your routine and some of your, maybe your personal habits, and then some things that you do with your kids.
Yeah. Sounds good. So one thing that I found, and I think where I really had to find some balance for myself, is this has been something I've been trying to kind of work on for years. I remember years ago, there's a book called The Morning Miracle, I believe. And in it, it's you have the first hour to yourself. And in that hour, you move your body and you read and you journal and you
wow, do
all of these things.
Yeah.
And I was I'm going to do this. It's going to be so great. And I think I made it 2 days. And then my kids are Mom.
And then they get up early and the dog needs you.
And you wake up early. And there was one time I got up, I set the alarm. I made no noise. I just slid out of bed just to sit and meditate. And immediately was Mom. I'm this just does not work.
This is not working. Yep.
If you have that time, it's a great book if you have the ability to do that. But I just find that for most moms, that's not practical. And you just end up feeling frustrated, which is not how you want to start out your day. So I've tried to find some things that are just really quick and easy that I can do that really set my day off right. So when I wake up, I first start kind of just waking my kids up and just kind of giving them a little bit of time to kind of have 10 minutes to just slowly wake up and all that stuff. And then I usually will one of the first things I do is go step outside barefoot. Obviously below zero, probably not going to want to do that. But I will actually go put my feet in the grass. Obviously it's quicker these days than it was a couple months ago, but I kind of consider it my quick version of a cold plunge. It kind of just wakes me up. It's really invigorating. I'm kind of getting that morning sunlight on my eyes, which is really good for establishing healthy circadian rhythms and helping your body just kind of learn, okay, this is morning. Ideally, if you can even get some sunlight around lunchtime, so your body knows it's midday. And then in the evening, kind of winding down and trying to get away from some of that artificial light.
I feel like we could have entire episodes on grounding and morning sunlight. We should do that with you or somebody. What about grounding mats? Do you have anything like that, or have you looked into it?
I've looked into it. I'm definitely wanting to try to figure out something. Right now, I've just been really trying to focus on, I think we have all these biohacks, which can be really incredible, but I ultimately think sometimes we just need to do the thing too.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you can in the summer and stuff.
So when you can
do that.
Getting into summer. But yeah, I've actually been trying to look at some grounding sheets or grounding mats to do that. As we kind of discussed in the last episode, I work barefoot or in my socks. And so, I feel like, again, I'm not on the grass, but I do feel like I am able to ground a little bit that way. But it's really energizing. I certainly try to get my kids to ground with me. They are barefoot a lot in the summer. Now that it's cold out, they're like, I'm not doing that. But I also think sometimes as parents, it's just about demonstrating it, and sometimes it'll click later.
Right.
What are your thoughts? You had mentioned briefly, and we'll get to evening in a minute, but about not having the artificial light as much in the evening.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they wake up and they want to check their phone right away. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I turn my phone off, and we'll kind of talk when we talk about the evening, but I turn my phone off at a certain point at the night, and I don't pick it back up until I'm awake for at least an hour. That's usually my goal. I'm not saying that there's never, exceptions, but if you don't have a reason where somebody absolutely needs to get a hold of you that second, I just don't even look at my phone in the morning, because a lot of times the brightness of your phone is actually telling your brain it's midday. Also, you're just kind of letting the whole world in, right? It's social media, it's news. We aren't designed to have all of this information coming at us constantly. I was at a marketing seminar one time, and they were talking about from a marketing standpoint. I was thinking of it from a nervous system standpoint, but the person presenting said that most people consume more information before breakfast than our grandparents did in a month.
Oh man. Yeah, so, I can see that. Yeah.
And they were kind of saying, oh, you need to keep showing up, and people need to see you so many times. And in my head, I was like, our poor nervous systems, that's so, so I really try of okay, I'm going to try to not consume any content before breakfast. I'm just going to be present and at home with my family.
Yeah.
So
what else? Okay. For one thing, I'm sure that this did not immediately start for you. Like you said, you had tried to do that 1 hour, fit every single thing in, and it took you 2 days to be done with that. So obviously what we're talking about here in your routine, it didn't take... It took a long time.
Yes.
Right?
It was kind of taking one thing. And part of it is okay, with the grounding, right now I might just be going outside for a minute or two. I feel like most people can afford a minute or two to just go outside, take a couple of deep breaths, ideally put your feet in the grass. Even if you don't want to put your feet in the grass, even just touching a tree, I know as wild and crazy as that sounds, just trying to connect to the earth somehow, I feel can be really helpful. So I just feel it's a quick thing where it's not this 20, 30 minute process, but it wakes you up, you're getting the morning sunlight on your eyes, and you're kind of grounding with the earth. So I just feel you get a lot for what you're doing.
You do have to be a little flexible in Wisconsin. Yes. I mean, to be honest.
You do. Yeah. So a lot of times, I have gone out, and there was literally times I was just looking up at the stars. This is crazy.
This is
I'm
nuts.
literally looking at stars, which I'm still, I'm still getting the fresh air. I'm still grounding. But a lot of times what I try to do now is if I'm getting up at 5:45 or 6, I might wait till 6:20 or 6:30 or something like that to go.
Well, and the thing is too, think about where you're at right now. You have a 13 and 11-year-old. Is that right?
Yeah.
I have a 12 and 9-year-old, and Brittany has older kids as well. So we are not in toddler baby stages.
Yes.
So again, flexibility.
100%.
Right. So
Absolutely.
if that doesn't mean you get grounding, would be wonderful in the morning. Yeah. But maybe that doesn't. Maybe it means that you actually don't ground until later
100%.
in the morning or lunch or something.
Yes.
So flexibility.
Definitely. I also love that everything you've shared so far has literally taken 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. The grounding and sunlight are a combo for a couple minutes.
Yep.
And the phone thing is honestly saving you time. It's saving you time.
It's just, it's
it
just
literally
not
is.
letting that stress into your life.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Okay. And so we've talked about 3 things. There's so much we can talk about here, but your routine, and I know you said before or, offline, breakfast before coffee. Yes. A lot of times people do not do that.
Yes.
Breakfast, it seems like coffee's the first thing.
Yes.
So why do you do it that way?
So coffee on an empty stomach just has a big impact on your adrenals. So you're just really, really stressing your nervous system. So, you know, I definitely think I like coffee. I love coffee actually. So I'm not anti-coffee by any means, but I think just getting a base before you're consuming that is just much, much kinder to your body. So I actually, if you even want a warm beverage, I usually start with like warm lemon water. It can be really great for digestion and helping your body kind of prepare for your breakfast. So it can kind of be a little bit of a warm beverage. And then, then I eat and then I have coffee after that if I'm going to have any. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I do like doing that too. Add maybe a little salt in the warm lemon water.
Yeah.
Kind of odd, but it works really nice.
Yeah. I put Celtic sea salt. I've done all sorts of different combinations. Sometimes I add some turmeric, a little bit of cayenne pepper. Sometimes I actually add
zippy in the morning.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of ghee. It can be really great for digestion. I've also found that since adding the ghee, and this might be in my head, but I don't think so, I feel like it really helped my hormones because I don't know if I was consuming enough healthy fats. So I felt like as I had kind of been doing that for a couple months and adding the ghee, that I was, my hormones just seemed a little bit more regulated and I was having less symptoms around my cycle. So,
and so the lemon, so tell us why lemon and tell us why salt.
I do a Celtic sea salt, and that can be great for electrolytes and minerals. The lemon, and this is always kind of funny because a lemon, people assume that lemons would be acidic in your body, but the way that your body processes, they actually become alkaline. And a lot of the different foods we eat on a daily basis can be more acidic, a lot more of some of the processed foods or meats and things like that. So the bringing some balance to that can be really, really helpful. So just very kind and gentle way to kind of start your digestive system after,
the fasting all night.
Yep,
yeah.
Fasting
Do you
all
have
night.
your kids drink that too?
Sometimes, yeah. They, they're 11 and
tolerate
13,
it.
so they have a mind of their own. But oftentimes my kids do actually drink some tea and stuff like that too. So sometimes just throwing like a lemon in there, sometimes that'll be a little bit more,
challenging a little bit or whatever. But I think it does help when you help them understand why you're doing the things you're doing too and your routine. And, you can explain like, hey, this is something that's helping me be calm in the morning. We want to be calm. We want to be like getting ready to go. What are some things that you do with your kids to help them with their routine getting ready for school? Right. Yeah. So like, how do you make things really smooth for the morning? Most days.
I mean, most days. Yeah, obviously. There are days you just don't know. So yeah, like I said, I think giving them a little bit of time just to like wake up, and then, when they do get up, we have breakfast for them. And so I just feel like we're able to kind of like talk a little bit. It doesn't feel rushed. I think one thing is we've tried to find how much time do we need in the morning and maybe adding to that. So I feel like ideally my kids maybe need 45 minutes. Usually we'll kind of like wake them up an hour before we need to get out the door, just because I feel like if we're too rushed, then that just
then you're yelling.
It's
everyone's
just the whole
crying. It's bad.
So we've kind of found that there were times that we would wake them up at 45 minutes, and it was like, if anything went off the rails, it was challenging. So kind of honing in on like how much time you need, and maybe just giving yourself just a little bit of a buffer time for those unexpected moments. I think certainly setting myself up right, because, we're tired in the morning, and if your kids are whining or they're upset about something, if you're not regulated yourself, then it's going to show to them, and it's going to dysregulate them further. So I think a lot of it comes down to just like trying to keep yourself calm. And that can also be a good time to ground too, when, something's really crazy and you're just like, I'm going to go outside and just put my feet in the grass for a minute. They don't even have to know that like you're really irritating me right now.
Yeah.
And it can just be a good little reset. Yeah. We don't have any screens on in the morning. So the TV is not on. They're not on any sort of device. So I feel like that's definitely a game changer. And then just trying to set them up with like a good, healthy breakfast, including some protein.
Yeah.
So much breakfast foods I feel like can be very like carb heavy. And so I feel like just good protein to start their day can
and it helps.
Be a game changer.
Yeah, I think that's super key, is the protein going into the rest of the day is super important for sure.
Yeah.
Gosh, I feel like we could just talk about morning routine forever, and there's so much to unpack here. This is so good. Okay, let's talk about evening routines.
Yeah.
So why is winding down so important? What do you do to wind down?
Yeah, I mean, we need to calm our bodies. I feel like a lot of us are just really busy throughout the day. And so it takes some time to like get your nervous system to be like, all right, it's time, ready, for sleep. So I think one thing is that like just kind of like turning down like the lights. So like, if there are overhead lights, maybe just switching to like lamps or like just trying to get that darker, cozier feel can just help kind of let your brain know that. As I mentioned kind of earlier in the episode, I obviously don't have my phone on in the morning. I try to actually turn my phone off at least an hour before bed so that again, it's just not available. I don't have it in my room, just trying to really like limit that and really kind of protect my energy for my house and for my kids. So I think that's a piece of it, of just not looking at the screen. When you are looking at a screen, it is keeping your body in fight or flight. So I've had this where people are like, oh, but I watch funny reels to like get tired or something like that, or it brings me joy. I totally get it, but looking at a screen does still, like, your fight or flight is still going on when you're looking at a screen.
Based off that is, what about blue light blocking glasses?
I think that can be helpful. So if somebody needs to be on screens, that can be a way to do it, to try to help obviously block the blue light. I've even like adjusted, now that it's getting dark so early, if I'm still at work, I'll like adjust my computer screen to be, kind of remove a lot of the blue light. I think that can be a piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't avoid it, the blue light blocking glasses are great. But ideally, if you can just separate yourself, and I feel like for me now, it's like my body like just comes to like crave that. It's like, ooh, I get to like not have to deal with this. And I feel like it kind of makes you think ahead too, of like, is there anything I need to look up?
That's
or is there anything I need to plan? Like, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? I try to like do some of that stuff of like, is there any final things I need to do before I turn my phone off?
I love that you turn your phone off, because I do put mine in a separate room, but then it dings on my watch because it's connected or whatever, and it's still distracting. I like that. I know one thing we do in our house is we, in our bedroom and in our living room, we have one lamp that's red.
Yeah.
Literally
absolutely.
just a red light bulb.
Yeah.
It's not like red light therapy. It's a red light bulb. Mm-hmm. And we have that in our room too. So if you ever go past our house, you can see like red lights at nighttime.
There are a lot of different light bulbs and filters. We actually have that red light like in our bathroom, which is really nice, because then like before bed, that's what we're using.
It does make a huge difference in just like having your brain kind of settling down a bit,
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's one thing that we do. You also, I know you talked about journaling too. Is that something that you do at night as well?
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be this like big, long, I'm going to sit and like dissect everything or talk about the day. It can just really be a quick thing. So I had learned from a dear friend something called the asking experiment. And basically, sometimes we almost forget like how powerful we kind of are. And so basically what you do is you just write down, first of all, like why you're doing the asking experiment, which at first is probably like, I'm curious about it. I heard it on a podcast, right? I want to try it out. And then after that, you just literally like ask for things. And it might just be like, I ask for a good night's sleep. It just gets you kind of thinking about, hey, what are some things that I'm hoping for? I feel like for me too, a lot of times it might not necessarily like I'm asking like a kid, like I want this for Christmas, right? It's much more like I ask that this opportunity presents itself, or I ask this, even if you're frustrated with something going on with your kids, just being like, hey, I asked for guidance for this, or I asked for clarity for this. It's really interesting sometimes how it connects. And then I feel like it can also, the next day can turn into this like almost gratitude practice of like, hey, I asked for this and look, like I got some of that today. And then it almost kind of makes you more grateful and almost just like raises your frequency.
Interesting.
So
I feel like that
cool.
also, when people think about journaling, they think about like almost past stuff, like stuff that's they're frustrated with, or it could even just be like a moment in time. Like today we did this with my kids, and like it's just something to look back on. Yeah. That's almost more like taking a moment to think about, what do you need?
Yes. And I think as moms, a lot of times we forget that. And sometimes it can just be small things. Like the one thing I've really started doing is, there's a couple intersections that I get really stressed driving. And I've found myself now as I'm approaching that intersection, like, like I'm open to this being better than I expect. And I'm open to like, traffic just flowing really easy. And then like a lot of times it is. And I'm like, oh, that wasn't stressful at all. Okay, great. Like, so even kind of integrating it into your day as well. So
I think that as we talk about this stuff, this can get really overwhelming for people. Like if you're not already kind of into these habits or into these routines. So I think for me, I would encourage anybody who's listening, start with one thing at a time.
Absolutely.
Start with one thing in the morning, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe
Yep.
one thing in the evening.
Yep.
And like even with the phone thing, I love that you turn it off. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
And just turning it off. Because you're right. It's something that you kind of plan on then, and then you might feel like naked or like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah.
what if something, but more than often than not, it's just fine. And then watch how your brain and body react to that, right? Over the next week. Cause I bet you'll feel a difference.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you turn off your phone an hour before bedtime, I'm assuming you're not watching TV if you're avoiding screens. Yeah. So what do you do to fill your time?
A lot of times that's when I will do a lot of reading and stuff like that. So not that I don't ever watch TV, but I do try to end that before, probably about an hour or so before bedtime. And so, yeah, I love reading. So if reading is something that you enjoy doing, I feel like especially fiction, for a long time, I feel like I was so hung up on like having to read things that were like related to my profession or, professional development or things like that. And I still read those books, but I find especially before bed, just kind of reading a good fiction book can be really great. And it also just like makes you tired. And so that can be really wonderful. And I think just like modeling that for our kids too, of like, it's a lot easier for them just to realize that, oh, hey, yeah, we can't have screens in our rooms.
Yeah.
Like, mom doesn't either. So,
yeah. That's great. That's awesome.
So from a chiropractic lens, since you probably are always thinking about how things are affecting the nervous system, how do you feel like this would change? Like if somebody were able to implement some of these things, have less screens, have a little bit more calm in their morning and their evening, be a little bit more present in their home instead of brain elsewhere. Like, how does that actually affect our nervous system?
Yeah, I think it brings so much like calm and safety to our nervous system. Like I said, we can just be so sucked into like the fight or flight of kind of the outside world around us, and just being present in your home with your family without outside distractions, I feel like can just feel so great. And just recognizing that like we don't need to be in the know all the time. Like that is constantly priming our nervous system of like all these notifications, all these things. And so even just like turning off some of those notifications, like I feel like I'm really particular about like what notifications I get on my phone. So really trying to just honor that and like really being present. I feel like it's such a shift to your nervous system. And, to be honest, there's times that, I'll almost have this like little inner child moment of like, no, I'm going to look at my phone. And it's funny because like then I feel like that night I sleep terrible the next morning.
For sure.
I wake
There's
up
a
more
big
groggy.
difference.
Like I'm just like, I know this, like, why did I do that? And so it does make it easier when you're able to do it for a little bit. And then you almost go back and you're like, yeah, I don't like how I feel when I'm that way.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I love these episodes that you've picked. I said that in the last one too, but it's just so, you're a chiropractor, so you're a professional in the wellness industry. You are constantly hearing different people. Something I love about chiropractic is that it's not just wellness physically, but like people can come in and share things that are going on in their lives with you. It's a great place to be just for overall wellness. And you have a ton of background in different expertise areas, but also like you're realistic, you're a mom, you're like, hey, let's just do this life thing together and let's like make it a little bit easier. Right. I love that. So I do know that you offer a free consult. If someone would like to connect with you, what does that look like? Is that over the phone? Is that in person? Tell us about your free consult.
Yeah, so I do offer a free consult that people can actually come into the office. We certainly can do it over the phone, but I feel like a lot of times it's just nice to be in person and kind of you get a chance to see the office. I get to learn about you. You can learn about me and kind of see if it's a good fit. Our first couple appointments are a little bit longer and extensive. So sometimes it's just kind of nice before we, kind of go through all of that to see, hey, is this something that I want to do? So yeah, we do offer the free 15-minute consult.
This was such a great episode. I definitely have things that I'm going to be implementing and trying, and I'm excited for bed tonight, honestly.
I'm always excited for bed.
Right.
All right, but we do have one more episode coming up. I'm excited to talk about this one. Postpartum mental health is something that, if you've ever had a kiddo, you have probably struggled in some way, shape, or form to different degrees. And so I think that this is applicable to a lot of people. I think Kate's going to get a little bit sciencey, which I'm excited about, but also it's going to be really relatable and I hope encouraging for you guys. So stay tuned for the next one. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver. And our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.